Let's take a look at Ampleforth in its latest incarnation. Ampleforth is Newspeak's live literate programming editor, and it's making slow but steady progress. So in the current version, we have both WYSIWYG and markup-based editing. So we can go and edit things here, as you'd expect in an editor, but the interesting thing is if we look at the markup reflects those changes. So if you watch carefully, this is where we are in the markup. If we type here, you can see that the markup updates as we type in the WYSIWYG view, and the converse is also true. Right? So that's the first thing that's important about this, is that many things can now be done in the WYSIWYG view. Obviously there's lots of features that aren't there, but the nice thing about having this markup is that you can, anything that's missing, you can pretty much put in the HTML. Of course, what's really important is that it's a live editor. And so we have here a counter, and we can increment it, and decrement it, reset it, increment it, and so forth. And the code that controls this counter is right here in a method browser that's also live. And if we decide we want to change, say, the labels on some of this stuff, let's say to very terse labels like this, then when we decide to actually update this, watch the counter up here, and now the labels have updated. The counter maintains its state. That's the crucial thing, right? It's live. We haven't restarted it, because for a counter it's easy to restart, but real programs are a pain to get to a given state. So preserving that state when you modify them as you're developing is very important. And it's still live, right? We can increment and decrement, etc. So that's a nice thing. The question is, okay, how do we add new widgets here to the existing ones? So let's just try and do that. I'm going to type in the name of a widget, and I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to up here open the toggle that shows me the editor controls, and then I'll press make it an applet. And now it's turned into a button, and if I click on this button, it's live, it does something. And of course the button did add right here a div in the markup that tells Ampleforth what to do, right? It's got class Ampleforth, so Ampleforth knows to look for it. It's got a name, which is basically the text we typed in, which was the name of a method that would give us a widget. That method, if we want to look at it, is right here. It's called alert button. It produces a button. We can see that. That's the button we saw. If we want to evaluate that button, we can do that and see that it indeed is a button fragment. That's a UI component representing a button. And we can work with this text. We can get rid of it. And now we can say, type something else to demonstrate a few more features. Let's say we forgot that it's called alert button. We think it's called alert. So we go and try to make that an applet. As you can see, we get a message not understood. We can, because there is no message, no message in the class that's called alert. We can go and go to the debugger. Say we want to create a missing method alert. Let's make it easy and say we want alert button, which is something we already had. When we go back here, we will find that we have an alert button, and it still works, and the alert is right there in the class. And that means that we now have the option of adding these things either by editing the HTML or by actually interactively creating these things and then adding, if they exist in the document, that's great. If not, we'll add them here. We have the full ID at our disposal. And so that is the essence of interacting with Ampleforth. Obviously, many features need to be added. Some features differ between browsers, for example. So in Chrome, you can make it bold, but in other browsers, you can't, and so forth. So all of this, we could spend a fair amount of time improving all this, but the essence is there. And of course, all these features are available to us in the HTML. So you can go, and if you want to make something bold, you just can also always in any browser go and do this. And yeah, we probably didn't delimit this correctly, but yeah, I know why. There, that's better. And so all of this is starting to work. It's really cool, and thank you for your attention.